Hey guys, it's me, and I'm bringing you another one of my videos. Now, I think like a month ago now, I did a video, maybe it's even 2 months, on building my dream group. And everyone seemed to like that idea. They thought that was pretty creative. And do you know what? I was proud of that one. It was alright. And so I thought today we would create our dream villain group. Okay, so basically, imagine I'm the leader. I haven't got a picture representing me this time, but imagine I'm the leader. Okay, I'm the leader of this new group, and I've got to build the best group of villainous foes to go against Rick and Co. Okay, now the people who I've classified as villains, some people might disagree with some of them, and that's okay. But basically, anyone, I'm not just taking people who were a part of a villainous group. So, for example, like Milton, like I'm not going to consider Milton a villain just because he was part of Woodbury. And then also anyone who kind of like, for the most part, very much changed. So I haven't included like DJ and Laura and a Rat, like some of those saviors, because they very much reformed themselves, although they definitely were villainous. So anyone who was kind of villainous and at the end didn't change. So for example, like I guess Merle kind of did. Maybe I shouldn't have Merle here, but oh well. Merle did change actually. Well, we won't include Merle. Merle's not here, okay? But all these other guys, they didn't really change at any point. They were pretty much always villainous till their end. So yeah, and we'll maybe I'll mention that as we go along too. Anyone I forgot as well, I'm bound to have forgot someone. Do let me know, and I can maybe in a pinned comment say where I'd have them in my group. So starting off, also I haven't got every single like savior, every single member of like the Wolves and every single Commonwealth trooper. I've just got like the notable ones who had like dialogue and I felt were notable. Again, not all of them are here because it'd be too many, and they're kind of the lesser ones are kind of boring. So starting off with Bud, the leader of the Savior Bikers. Oh, I probably should mention my tier list too. God, there's so much to preface before. So my tier list here is Lieutenant, Militia Member, Defense, Worker, and has to earn their place. So let me just explain them all, because I have people who just listen. So I need to explain it all. So Lieutenant is obviously like who is going to be. I'm the leader, of course. So my lieutenants are like with Negan has his lieutenants, and to a degree, like the governor had like Martinez as a lieutenant. You could argue, right? I'm gonna have my people who are like second in command, but I'm gonna limit this to like a certain amount of people. For every lieutenant, I need to have like at least 3 militia members. I think that's probably a fair balance there. So then we have militia members. These are my soldiers, my fighters. These are the people who are going to oppress Rick's group for me and attack Rick's group when they rebel. My defense. These are just your kind of. I know I'm kind of. These two are sort of a little bit in the same vein, but I kind of wanted to make a bit of a distinction where my defense are people who are going to be, protecting me, protecting my workers, and protecting my sanctuary, protecting my base, okay? And then obviously my workers are just, people who do the other jobs, so whether that be, a doctor, or whether that be someone who does, moonshine brewing, distilling, or someone who does, I don't know, fucking gardening. It doesn't matter. Those are my workers. And then has to earn their place. These are for people who I don't really trust enough because I don't think they jam well. And they're a bit too good for me, I guess. This one's tricky, actually, because I feel like everyone here would be and has to earn their place. But we'll get into it, and maybe this tier will become redundant. We'll see as we go along. It's all about the journey. So starting off with Bud, the biker savior, I think Bud is a pretty good militia member. He can go out there, he can attack people, he can rule my roost. He's got that rule the roost. He can be a good guy. Okay, he'll go out there and he'll deliver my rule of law. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I think that's basically what he was doing for Negan. Some people say he was a lieutenant. I don't know if he was, but he obviously ran his like little biker gang there, so that was cool. He'd be a good militia member. Now we got Alan. Now Alan is a weakling. I don't like him, and I think he has to earn his place. The reason why Alan is here is he was pretty much villainous from the end, obviously. Yes, he does turn his gun on the governor, but he like, let's be honest, if he did kill the governor and Martinez and Schumpert, he would have been quite happy to kill the people of the prison still, regardless, because of the death of his son. So it's a bit understandable. I think he's a more sympathetic villain, but he's just, to me, he doesn't really add much. He's kind of pathetic. He's kind of weaselly. Don't really like him. I think he has to earn his place. And maybe, if he earns his place, he can get another job. Now we have Alpha. Now, Alpha is a strong-ass leader. She does have moments of weakness, that's for sure, but she's going into lieutenant. Now, the reason why is because I think, despite her showing some emotion here and there, she is a strong-ass leader. She commands her people. She instills fear, but also respect in some of her members too. And for that reason, I think she'd make a solid-ass lieutenant. Then we have Andrew. Andrew, obviously, is the prisoner from Season 3. He's kind of tricky. He's kind of slippery. I like that. So it makes me tend to lean towards like a defense. I think he'd be good at that. He's not... I just don't see him kind of going out there and attacking groups. To me, that doesn't seem like a him thing to do. So... yeah, I feel like defense is probably a better place for him, other than militia member. Then we have Ben, which is Alan's son from Season 3. He's probably just a worker. I don't think he's as bad as his father, but I think what benefits is he going to really bring for the militia? I think he'd be good, like, doing gardening or something. He's a young kid. He's, like, 17, I think, or 16, 17. He's not old. I don't think it'd be worth throwing him in the militia. I think keep him back at the base, and he can be doing some other stuff instead. Now we have Beta. Okay. Now, Beta, I don't think is a good leader. I don't think he has leadership skills, so I don't think he'd be very good as a lieutenant. However, he's certainly a very capable fighter. He can obviously amass hordes of walkers, and he's able to like lead these hordes of walkers. He's a fucking absolutely an absolutely brutal fighter, probably the best fighter in The Walking Dead if we're just talking one-on-one, no dirty tricks. Because I know Daryl kind of wins that fight, but like, he wins that fight by using dirty tricks and pushing Beta down an elevator shaft. If there was no dirty tricks involved, if we were just in an arena, if we were just in the octagon, right, Beta would kill Daryl, let's be honest. So I think Beta is probably like the best fighter, so him being not in the militia is a mistake. He has to be in the militia. Now we have Brion. He's a member of the Scavengers. Now, the Scavengers, I feel like, were villainous right to the end. Yes, they did join Rick's group, but then like instantly fled. And then they kind of got their comeuppance from the Saviors. But I'm still going to count them as villainous, because I feel like they would have, if they didn't get their comeuppance by the Saviors, I think they would have still been villainous towards Rick, regardless. So for me, they are still a villain group. I don't think they were redeemed in any way. Brion, I mean, he seemed to be like good at defense, I guess. Like, we saw he kind of commanded like all of his people on, obviously, Jadis' behalf to obviously capture like Rick and Co. He doesn't give me like militia vibes for me. He kind of gives me more like defense vibes. Like, he'd be better. He'd be good for like in battle, but only in terms of the defense. If not, I think he's leaning more towards worker. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to put Brion there, and then Tamial, the other scavenger lady. Where is she? TTT. I think I'll put Tamial in defense, actually, and Brion in worker. Tamial just kind of gave me more... Brion's like kind of older, he's more... But Tamial was actually like going out and like waiting and watching and, keeping an eye on people. Like, she kept an eye on Rick and Aaron, obviously, when they took the stuff from the boat, and then she was able to infiltrate Alexandria and stuff, and then get Gabriel captive. And although that sounds like good militia stuff, I think it would also be good defense stuff, right? I think she'd be able to kind of keep a wrap on things. Now we've got Toby Carson. This guy from the Commonwealth, obviously, season 11, he is absolutely brutal, and I think he's got good... he's like CIA, right? He's like ex-CIA. He's good at weeding people out. I feel like he's a militia member for me. I'm leaning towards lieutenant, unironically, because he obviously would have like a good set of skills, and I think he probably, being CIA and stuff. Actually, no, I'm gonna put him in lieutenant. I've changed my mind. I'm gonna put him there because although we didn't see like much of him, and I don't think we really needed to see more of him, to be honest, because he was a good like 2-episode villain, I guess. I just feel like, yeah, to me, I think he would be better in like lieutenant, because I think his brains are much better than his brawn, if you know what I mean. So yeah, he is a fucking psychopath too, and that makes a good lieutenant. So next we've got Brandon Carver. Brandon is easy militia member. You can't. No one can disagree with me. He's like probably the second best fighter. I think he easily goes there. Plus, he's a merc. I mean, how could I not put him there? That one's pretty easy. Now, Bob Lamson. The reason why I have him here is because although he was kind of cowardly and he was just running away, I guess technically he kind of was villainous to the end in a sense, although he did seem like just a guy who was kind of desperate. Regardless, I think he's easy defense for me. He's a cop. I think he would be able to defend. He might be good in militia, but he kind of does give me like, not, what's the word? Not pathetic, but he's just kind of, he's less, he's weaselly, and he's less like inclined to get his hands dirty, I feel. So he goes into defense for me. Now we got Crowley. Easy militia member of Woodbury, sick ass with the gun. He looks cool, okay. He was he's capable. He was going out on runs. He attacks like the National Guard dudes. Yeah, easy there. I just remembered I forgot the Warden from the Commonwealth. The Warden, damn, he would go into I don't know, defense maybe. Now we got Dan. Now Dan, member of the Claimers, the guy who tries to do bad things to Carl. I think he's an easy worker for me. Because I feel weird now. I feel the has to earn their place, because he's a bit of a yeah, actually no. I think the moral thing with the fact that he was willing to do those things to Carl. Yeah, even in my villainous group, I don't know. I'm trying to like just be an evil bastard though, so maybe that shit's cool in my fictional villainous group. No, I'm gonna be like Negan, okay? I'm gonna say no to the R word. However, I am gonna coerce some women to be my wives. No, Joe fucking me, I'm joking. Jesus Christ. Dante, easy worker, because he's a doctor. We need a doctor, and I think he would be. He doesn't strike me as someone who'd be a very good militia member. Tony? No, this is. Dave even. Dave from season 2. Easy militia member. He's very good at talking people down. Like he does, like, in a sense, kind of lull or try to lull Rick into a false sense of security, whilst trying to obviously shoot him. And by the way, Dave was about to shoot Rick. If you like watch really, really carefully, he goes for his gun, and then Rick is quicker on the draw. So yeah. I think Dave is an easy militia member for me. And where's Tony? We'll deal with Tony as well. We got Tony too. I think Tony's probably not as calm, not as abrupt. I think he's easier defense for me. I think Tony would be good at defense. Dave would be good at offense. Militia member. Right, now we'll go for Davey. Now Davey did try to do bad things to Sasha, and I'm sorry, even in my group, that's a line that we're not going to cross. And I'm not going to be taking any wives either, like Negan. Okay, I'll leave that alone. Dawn. Oh, God, Dawn. Dawn, unironically, she doesn't have to earn her place. I'm going to put her in the worker category, okay? Dawn is going to have to get her hands dirty a little bit, right? I want Dawn. What jobs can she do? Let's have a look. What's she good at? She's a police officer. So maybe something to do with like within the communities. Maybe she could be the leader of the workers, like a manager. She gives those kind of vibes. She feels like she should have been in charge of like a supermarket, not in charge of a community. That's the kind of vibe, because she's got terrible management skills and she allows awful things to go on in her community. And I think it does make her culpable, but I don't think it's as bad as actually doing it. So yeah, for me, she's just a worker. We'll find a job for her, I'm sure. Now we got Dean. Now, this guy obviously pretends to wet himself, and then tries to kill Jesus, and then he gets shot in the face by Maggie in season 8. Where would I put Dean? Tricky one, actually. Now, he says he's a worker, but he was obviously lying. Or I think he's lying. Yeah, he must be lying. Yeah, because Simon says that's one of our guys. So maybe he's a militia member. But I don't know. He kind of gives me Weasley vibes. I don't know if he'd be a great militia member. Although he was convinced, he was able to wet himself, convince himself. No, I think he's slippery enough, where he might make a good militia member. That's where I'm going to put him. Now we've got Duke the dog. Now if you don't remember Duke the dog is the dog that shows up in season 5 when all of the characters are on the road, and he does a yap yap bark bark, ready to attack our survivors with his fellow pack of dogs to try and chow down. And so for that, he's going to be a worker, alright? What we're going to make him do? I don't fucking know. Maybe he can do some shit with zombies. Or maybe defense, actually. Maybe he'd be a good, like, if they get into the gates, we'll just set Duke on them, okay? That maybe, yeah. We'll put him in defense. We got Edward, the crazy-ass wolfman. Listen, all the wolves are kind of savage and kind of crazy, but I think my only line I'm crossing here is when we go into the R-word stuff. And also Alan. R-word and Alan. Maybe I'll just put Alan to work. Maybe I was being too mean on Alan. I'll change Alan to worker. But anyway, so we've got Edward, the wolf guy, the blonde wolf. I think he's got to go. I don't know. No, they attack communities quite well, and they're good at scouting out. I think he has to be a militia member. We got Fat Joey. Now, people will say, wait, hang on. Fat Joey wasn't me. Like, he was begging for his life. Fat Joey was a coward, okay? Fat Joey would have turned Daryl in the second he ran away, okay? He was not redeemed. He was just pathetic. And so for that reason, he's a worker, okay? We're going to put him to work. We're going to find him good use for him. What can he do? I don't know. He seems to be like a mechanic. I remember reading, like, wasn't the actor say he thinks Fat Joey was a mechanic? Oh, no, he was into the TNT and shit. Obviously, no, fuck yeah, of course. I forget. The TNT and all the explosives, that was all Fat Joey. He was, like, really good at that shit. No, maybe he actually I guess he was a worker / defense for that reason. But I want him to be, like, protected because we want to use his brains, right? So he won't be defense. No, he'll be providing the TNT for the militia members to, like, plant. And we got Gareth. Now, Gareth obviously led Terminus, and he was good at being slippery and catching people in. And yes, cannibalism. Listen, I'm cool with it. I'm just not cool with the R word. I'm gonna let the cannibalism slide, and then for that reason, I think I don't know. Gareth's a weird one because he didn't seem like an amazing leader really, because everything he was doing was like trickery, right? And then his people were all as deluded as him. But then at the same time, like, you understand why he was, like, resulted to that. So, he's a weird one. I don't know where to put him. I'm feeling... Because I don't think he's quite lieutenant level. Just because he was a leader. I don't think he's quite there. Because there's nothing gives me, like... I'm trying to remember. Because he's not there for long. But he doesn't give me, like, great leadership skills in any capacity whatsoever. So I guess... We know how he, like, sort of formed the defense, and he obviously knew about Rick and co coming in. Actually, no, fuck yeah, no, that's a perfect idea. Obviously, Gareth set it up where they actually knew that Rick buried shit in the woods because they scouted them out. So when Rick and co, like, came in, I don't think Gareth knew in that moment, but his scouts were all, like, prepped to do that. And maybe that's his scouts, not Gareth. But because he's in charge, I'm going to give him credit. So I'm going to put Gareth in the defense. Now, we got Gary. Gary is an absolute maniac. He's easy militia, okay? He's a strong fighter. He's willing to do anything. Anything I ask him to do, massacre a group of people in the junkyard, he'll do it. We got Gavin, and I include him as a villain because he was still villainous right till the end. Because if he ran away and got away from Morgan and Henry, he would have went right back to Negan and helped Negan to do his dirty work. So Gavin was a villain to the end. I don't care. So Gavin, he's reasonable, and I think I think he would make a good-ass lieutenant, okay? He's that sort of calmer, more reasonable, villainous guy, right? He's not a good guy by any means, but he's a lot more reasonable. And I think that is a balance we'll need in the group. So Gavin, for me, is going to be my lieutenant. Now we've got Gorman. Gorman, the awful cop who tries to do terrible things to Beth and did terrible things to Joan. That guy has to earn his place. And when I say earn my place, maybe I should just put, like, the prisoners. They're also kind of prisoners, I guess. Gregory. Now, I'm including Gregory as a villain because he was always slippery. He's always a snake. He was always kind of siding with the saviors. And in his last moments, he tries to kill Maggie. So that, in my opinion, makes him a villain. A villain till the end. So Gregory is just an easy worker because he was a part of the he was a businessman, and he was a part of like the commerce, like apparently it was like the commerce or whatever it is, Department of Commerce meeting, and he was a part of that, and he was attending it in the Barrington house when shit went down. So I think he would be good in terms of like that kind of stuff, right? The more bureaucrat stuff that needs to happen in my community. And I don't know, maybe he can also run our economy as well. Like we'd have like a little, maybe we just have a bartering system, but maybe we'd have like a point system like Negan has, right? And maybe he can be like almost like our economist, the guy who kind of runs that, and that's his sort of place in our community. Gunther. Now this is the guy who, of course, takes Ezekiel hostage and has like a conversation with him. I think he's notable enough. We don't know. I mean, he seemed loyal. I think he's a bit scrawny, but I feel like he'd probably be a good militia member. Jared is insane. He's cringe. I hate him, but he is also savage, and he is also someone who will do what needs to be done. So I think he'd be a good militia member. Jocelyn from, of course, Michonne's friend, and Jocelyn's obviously from the Scars flashback episode. She's the crazy one with all the kids. Yeah. Again, she herself is not like that capable of a fighter. She kind of gets all the kids to do the dirty work for her. I feel like there's some sort of job. I don't know what she used to do. She went to college with Michonne, so she must be educated. We'll find a job for her to do in the community. Okay, she'll be picking daisies or something. I don't know, or planting crops. Lance Hornsby. Now this guy, he's got connections. He's very good at manipulating people. He's very good at sort of creating like little pockets and stuff. So I would be worried that he would be trying to take me over. But at the same time, I think his benefits of a lieutenant, the benefits of him being a lieutenant, I think outweigh his snakiness for me. So I'm gonna leave him as a lieutenant. I think he has the potential to be one. And yeah, I like him a lot as well. I like Lance. Len. Now, although he's a part of the Claimers, we never got... Actually, no, he does do a little line to Daryl where he says, like, oh, the little ones... Was Beth a little one? They don't last too easy out here. Now, you can take that as, like, a bit of a grapey thing. Also, but you could also take it as, like, he's just sort of being like, oh, Beth would die pretty soon because it's like someone else would do terrible things to her, and he's just saying it in a very coy way. But because we don't actually see him doing any grapey things, or like that's the only indication, I think just because I don't know for sure, I'm gonna do the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, maybe he wasn't like that. For that reason, he's a good ass hunter. He's like as good as Daryl, I feel like, on the level. He's a bowman, and that's an essential skill. So I guess he would be a worker. But he'd be a hunter. He'd be going out and hunting for me, okay? Because I think that skill is far more beneficial than what he'd bring to like the militia or the defense. We got Mancia, the Reaper Preacher from obviously season 11. He's obviously going to be our worker. He's going to be our spiritual guide. Our if anyone wants to talk to a preacher, there he is. But also, like I think like most preachers like are good for like just therapy in general. And so yeah, he's going to be there, and I'm going to tell him, listen, man. You're going to have to talk to people in a non-religious way too, okay? You can't always be preaching your repeat preachy, okay? That was weird. Martinez. Now, this one's probably a little weird because was he villainous at the end? Debatable. But I'm going to include him anyway because he wasn't redeemed, that was for sure. Martinez is obviously a militia member. I don't think he's quite lieutenant skill, but he was in the army, right? I believe. And also he has loads of like skills. He's good with he's a great shot. He's got the bat as well, and yeah, he's just a chill dude. I think he'd mellow out the team a bit. So he's a militia member for me, not quite a lieutenant. Now we got Martin from the Cannibal. Now he did try to kill a baby. We're just doing he threatened to kill a baby, and I believe he probably would have done it. But I guess I'm okay with that. I'm sorry. I've got to put my actual ethics and morals to the side. So for Martin, he was very good at like redirect. Obviously, we saw him redirecting herds and stuff. So for that reason, he's easy defense. Obviously, he's proven his skill there. We've got Maze. Now, some people might disagree with this one because they all say, hang on a minute. Maze actually was letting Gabriel and Aaron go, and then Gabriel killed him. So is he really a villain? He had his brother tied up in the roof, and he lied about that. He didn't tell the truth that, oh yeah, my brother's tied up in the roof, by the way. He never was honest about that. He lied about that. And I feel like he was unstable. So I don't know. I don't trust him. If you want to say he redeemed himself in the end, go ahead. But not enough for me. I still wouldn't have trusted him. And Gabriel, I think Gabriel probably, although it was cold blood, morally was that acceptable? I think so. The guy was clearly insane, okay? He was too much of a threat. They could not be trusted. So for me, Maze, I'm feeling Lieutenant. I'm not Lieutenant. I'm feeling defense for him. Although he was good on the... He was sneaky? Nah, he was sneaky. I think he'd be a good militia member. I generally do. He was, like, very sneaky. He's obviously, like, got... His morals are very flimsy, so he'd be able to do any dirty things I need to have doing. And yeah, no, I think he easily goes there. For sure. Michelle. So Michelle is obviously one of the saviors that kidnaps Maggie and Carol. I really like her character, actually. But I think she was a worker, right? Was she a worker? She went out to go find her boyfriend who was blown up by Daryl. He was one of the bikers. And then she had her fingers chopped off for leaving. And then she was a part of the satellite outpost. But some of them had to be workers, surely, right? Not all those guys could have been like militias. The militia. I don't know. For me, she's probably going to go and work. I just don't know enough about her. She wasn't like... To me, she probably was like some sort of worker. What could she be doing? I don't know. Something. We'll find a job for her. Now we got... Mitchell is one of the kids one of Jocelyn's like crazy kids. He's young, he's brutal, but I think he's too young for me to feel comfortable putting him in the militia. Now I'm an evil group, sure, but I need to also, in being an evil group, I also need to care about my group. And for me, I feel like he's a bit too young. If we're taking his age in season 10, so yeah, he has to be a worker. We got Mitch, the tank man. Okay, Mitch. Dogan? Is it Dogan or Dolgan? I forget how you say the surname. But Mitch, I think Mitch is a solid militia member, part of the military. He's got a tank. I don't know if he comes with the tank. I'm not sure. But let's say if he does come with the tank, he's easy militia member for obvious reasons. But even so, I think he's like capable. He's experienced. Yeah, he goes into militia. Morales. Now, he started off as a good character, that's for sure. He's a good guy at the start, but he turned into a savior at the end. So he ends up on the villainous wing. Now, Morales, he snuck up on Rick. That was good. I think he's good defense. That's all I really know about Morales. And he was good at defending the Atlanta camp in season 1. So I'm gonna put him in the defense. Now we got Negan Smith, the main man himself. Now Negan, despite his flaws, is a good-ass leader, okay? He commands respect. He has a cult following. He's, like, to the point where people, thank God for Negan. They kneel for him. They respect him. They're loyal to him. And yes, oh, God, he could overthrow me. This is a possibility, obviously. Now, because Negan did overthrow the original leader of the Sanctuary. But... let's just assume that everyone's going to be loyal to me for this. I am going to leave Negan to rule his own little faction of men. Because I think he'd do a good-ass job. Now, is Negan a villain? People are going to be asking. Hang on, wait. Now, listen. Dead City... Negan is a weird one because he flip-flops a lot. But I always sort of see Negan as kind of half villainous, half good. Now, in Dead City, he's being posed to be a villain again. Like, the old Negan is back because he's, like, in charge. Now, is he going to actually be a villain? Is he going to fully slip into his villainy, his villainness again? I doubt it. I imagine he's going to come out of it again. But because he flip-flops a bit and he's, like, villainous sometimes and then not other times, for me, I'm just gonna stick it and keep it simple and say he is kind of half and half. But yeah, I'm gonna keep him as a lieutenant. We got O'Donnell, this cop. Now, I don't think he was laughing about a woman being raped, and that's not cool. And I think at least Dawn felt like wanted it to stop, but she didn't have the courage to stop it. O'Donnell was like straight up cool with it. So yeah, I don't know. He's got to go there. Maybe I should also get out of the way. Joe was also, it wasn't just Dan. Everyone likes to forget about this. Joe was also going to do those things to Carl and Michonne, because he says to Rick, first we're going to beat Daryl to death, then we'll have the girl, then the boy, then I'm going to shoot you and we'll be square. So Joe was wanting to do that too. And he said, then we, and a part of that group at the time as well was Tony. So Tony, the other claimer, also has to go. So Joe and Tony, for that reason, have to go into the has to earn their place, unfortunately, because I don't like that behavior. That is one line we won't cross. Murdering babies? Cool. That? Nah. Owen, the weird-ass alpha wolf. Now, he's crazy, he's mental, but like with Edward, very good at like infiltrating communities and stuff, so he's going into militia member. We got Pamela Milton, who was a villain pretty much up to the end. I mean, she was in prison, sure, but she was doing villainous things to our group and to her own people, actually, and to the Paws. Now, Pamela has never worked in her life, so I think it's probably quite fitting that she becomes a worker now, okay? What job can she do? Listen, we'll find something. We'll find her something. Maybe it's something as simple as doing some sort of entertainment, like, I don't know, like a fucking lottery or some shit. Or maybe where I'm going to have her scrub the toilets. I don't know. But listen, she's going to find her place. Paula. Now, Paula is basically Savior Carol. She's brutal. But she's also got a soft side, a reasonable side too. And for that, Paula is going to be a lieutenant, okay? So, listen. Paula doesn't allow Donnie to like beat up on Carol. That's too far. That's too much, right? Because we're keeping them captive. We might kill them, sure, but you don't need to like torture them. That's a bit insane, right? So she deals with Donnie, right? Especially when Donnie hits her too, and at the same time, she's like she helps Carol out when she's hyperventilating. She gives the cross. She tells Molly to stop smoking. So or was that Michelle actually? I don't remember. But yeah, Paula's kind of like reasonable, but also like cruel enough to be. She's kind of like a Gavin in that sense. Like she has a good balance, and she is a fucking capable, strong leader. I generally think she is. It's just a shame she bumped into Carol. Otherwise, she might have survived longer. She was very she knew that Rick would like obviously attack them if they traded them for Primo, so she didn't take that deal. She found a smarter way to deal with it. She's intelligent, she's not stupid, and yeah, for that reason, she's an easy lieutenant for me. And I feel like we had to have a bit of more female representation up here as well. But she definitely deserves it. The governor, it's another lieutenant. I feel. Should I have a maximum lieutenant? I don't know. The governor has to be. He's a tactical genius. He has all the scare tactics and all that. He also has the charisma to command respect. If we're talking like early governor, he's able to command respect, loyalty, all of that. Less so when he's more insane. And he does have a soft side that comes out here and there too. He's brutal. He can massacre people on a whim. That's what we like. Okay? In my group, I'm more villainous than Negan. Okay, Negan is my angel, and the governor is my devil. Okay, on my shoulder. Pope is just militia member. I think he'd be very good at obviously like tactical recruits and stuff. As a leader, I don't really like him. He was cool with like people dying. That's not cool with me, Pope. He was like, my men are dying. Whatever. Who cares? I guess saying that, I did just put the governor in lieutenant, and the governor literally massacred his people. The difference is, the governor had a bad oopsie moment, okay? The governor went a bit insane in that moment, alright? And also Negan did that too. Negan sent some of his people off to die too, in the finale in season 8. So, listen. I'm not letting it slide with Pope, because it was like a fundamental to his character. He killed that one guy for running away, and then he was like, oh, Paul is dead? Oh, well. And then he was like, we'll just fire her watcher. And Leah's like, oh, people are down there. And he's like, oh, well, it's God's work. Nah, Pope was like another level. The governor just had a moment, okay? Yeah, leave him alone. Now we have Randall, who I maintain was probably a little villainous. I mean, we don't know for sure, and the group didn't know for sure, but I think it's probably quite clear he was on board with those. Now, I'm going to take his word for it. He just watched those guys do the horrible thing to those farm girls, which obviously he talks to Daryl about. The living, Dave and Tony. Oh, shit. I forgot about that. Oh no, I'm sorry. Dave and Tony have to go into the workers now because they did terrible things to like some farm girls. Randall tells them. But anyway, Randall can go a militia member because he's slippery. Well, he's not actually a great shot though. Tony, I'm sorry, you have to go there. Yeah, Dave and Tony have to go into earn their place because I remembered they actually were kind of grapey. Randall though. Nah, I'll put Randall in defense. I think like when he kills the zombie in 18 Miles Out, he's kind of slippery like that. I think he has some he has some good skills there. I think he could be a good defense. We have Romano. He's like a member of the Commonwealth. He obviously tries to kill Daryl, Aaron, and Gabriel. He's like a little leader, like one of Lance's lick spittles. For me, he goes into a militia member because he's a soldier. He's a trooper. He's trained in that. It makes sense for him to be a part of my militia. We have Roman, which is another one of Lance's lick spittles. Roman, obviously, pretty capable, pretty crazy, pretty out there. Wolf in sheep's clothing, kills some cleaners, pretty bad stuff, and was obviously like a little spy hunting for our fellow group members. I'm leaning towards defense, to be honest. Maybe. But he was also a plumber. Obviously, that was like a part of his disguise, but I think at the same time, he had to have actually been working as a plumber, right? Because, yeah. No, he was actually a plumber at the same time. So he's got an essential skill. I don't know how capable he is as a militia member. I don't know. No, he showed like guts. Nah, frig it. He can be a militia member and he can do plumbing on the side. But I'm going to put him in militia member. Roman. This is the savior that goes after Carol and tries to shoot her. I think he's easy militia member. You know, he's out there. Obviously, that's something he does quite regularly. You know, attacking groups and subjugating groups. So, yeah, we'll put him in militia member. Craven. Now, this is the biker that attacks Negan in the Here's Negan flashback episode. I think he's probably just a militia member. He's kind of like Bud, right? He is like I feel like Bud or Craven. Like it's my headcanon, right, that Negan set up Bud and the Biker Saviors after his experience with Craven and the Valak Vipers, and I generally, that's my headcanon personally. But yeah, Craven for me is just a militia member, and he can be a part of Bud's little group. We've got Sean. This guy's a member of the Living, and I guess we didn't know if Randall participated in it, but he mentions that the guys he just watched, but he kind of says the guys, meaning that the rest of them were all involved. And that is the one line I don't cross here. I know, I'm sorry. It might hurt. It might actually impact my villainous group, to be fair. We got Simon. He does kill kids. Pretty cool. No, not cool. I think he's not that tactical, though. Like, obviously Negan had, like, much better ideas. Simon's good, but he's good as a grunt, I think. He's good as, like, a head grunt. So he'd be, like, a militia member. Maybe a top militia member, but I don't want him as a lieutenant. I think he's just he's too insane for me, right? Like, if Rick's group is messing up, okay, we're gonna kill all the favorites, okay? We're gonna kill well, actually, no. If I was trying to attack Rick's group, I'd just kill Rick, okay? If I was Negan, I would have killed Rick from the start, okay? That's how I would have dealt with it. But that's just me. But listen, Simon, he's a bit too insane for me. Leah, but saying that, sorry, Simon is a bit too insane, but he's also, that insanity is good for when I want shit getting done. So that's why he's a militia member. Leah, okay, Leah, I just think she's a merc. She has to be in the militia. She'd just be good there. She's definitely, like, we see her against those Commonwealth troopers. She's very like, she outwits them very easily. She obviously attacks the trading convoy as well, which she obviously outwits that very easily too. Obviously off screen, but she clearly did it. And these are like trained soldiers, right? These are people who are trained in the Commonwealth, and she's able to deal with them pretty effectively. So plus she was a mercenary, so I just feel like militia member for her. I don't see much value in her being a lieutenant, and defense could work too, but I sort of see defense as more like the last front, you know, like the last kind of, we're just protecting like the community. Yeah. And I think the mercenaries would be better in the offense. Yeah, I think that's all the Reapers I'm going to mention, because the others are just a little too inconsequential for me. Sebastian, sorry, no, is another annoying character with an S. Sebastian is just a worker. Like with his mother, he's been a spoiled brat all his life, and he's never worked a hard day in his life, alright? And that's going to change in my community. He's going to get on his hands and knees, and he's going to be doing some shit, alright? Mary. Now, she's a cook for the cannibals, okay? She seems like a sweet lady, right? Now, she definitely is capable. She almost bested Carol. Okay, and she clearly kills zombies and stuff. You know, she's not useless in that regard. But I feel like she would be better as a worker for me. So she's going there. Now, Jada/Anne. Is this one still a villain? Didn't she redeem herself in the end? Listen, she still did all those genocides. Participated in a bunch of genocides. Just because she had a little change of heart in the end, kind of doesn't negate her all the evil stuff. It'd be like if that one German dictator during World War II felt bad in the end and told Eva Braun before he blew his head out. You know what? I feel bad for killing all those people in those concentration camps. Anyway, see you later. Like that. I'm sorry. It doesn't redeem Anne for me at all. So, Jadis/Anne, where does she go? I don't know. So she was brutal. She definitely is capable. She bests Hook in World Beyond. That's for sure. Maybe she actually is, unironically, a militia member. She's a warrant officer in the CRM. That's like a high military thing. Now she is more of an officer and not a soldier. But even so, yeah. She's got like all that training. I feel like militia member, yeah. We got Jed, the savior. Maybe a defense. I'm just feeling like I need to have a few more people defending my home, you know? So I'm going to chuck him there. And then Justin, I'll throw into the militia member because he seemed a bit more, like a little more gritty, a little more, you know, a bit more tough. So I'll have him in my militia. And then Regina, who was obviously a lieutenant in the Saviors. I like her. She probably might have been an absolute awesome lieutenant, but to me, I didn't see enough of her. And a few times I did see her, like she shoots that worker with the gun, but she's able to kind of calm people down and say like, I'm Negan, you know, and like sort of temper the rule of law. And so she does a lot of good stuff, but not enough for me to put her in lieutenant for me. So I'm just going to put her in defense. Okay, she's going to be defending the community, you know, keeping the workers in line, making sure no one comes in. That kind of jazz. We got Roy, the weird veggie savior. Now, because he was out there a lot, you know, going on missions with Negan, you know, subjugating communities and stuff. Like he was a part of all that and the terrorizing and all that. I think just because we know that he was a part of that, I feel pretty safe putting him in militia member. And then we've got Molly, the savior, who's got lung cancer, who also kidnaps Maggie and Carol. Now, she's older, she's got cancer, we're assuming she's still alive, obviously, but she'll still have the cancer. Maybe the cancer's cured, I don't know, whatever. But, yeah, she's older regardless. I think she's definitely capable against walkers, she's able to kill them, but she does get bested by, like, one walker on a fucking leash. So, yeah, she's just gonna be a worker. I'm sure we'll find something she can do. Maybe she's like Carol. Maybe like Carol, she can bake. We got Primo, who's a doctor. And I think even though he might be a capable fighter, I think he's like a medic, maybe not quite a doctor. But obviously Donnie really wanted Primo to fix up his arm. I haven't actually included Donnie on the list, but that's because he was pretty much just a whiny guy, and then he died. But yeah, Primo. I mean, to be fair, he probably had more lines than Primo, to be fair. But Primo, listen, he's a medic. I think he'd be good as a worker, right? As like a backup to Dante in case something happens to him. We don't need to put his life on the line. Now, Shane. Yes, Shane was a villain, okay? He remained his villainous status till the end. Just because he's a villain we understand more doesn't make him any less than a villain, okay? He is a villain. He tried to kill Rick in cold blood to bang his wife and raise his son. Now, does that make Rick a villain too? Well, no, because yes, he did try to kill Pete Anderson, but he found an excuse to kill Pete. That was, Pete was beating his wife, and Rick was like, oh, that means I'm allowed to kill him. Awesome. So Rick found an excuse. But Shane, he's ahead of the curve and all that, sure, right? He's capable. He's out there. I don't know if I want him as lieutenant. I don't think he's a great leader. He didn't distill respect in the group. He didn't have he didn't have respect. I don't think he really instilled fear. I think he was all over the place. He was lost, and no one really cared that much when he died. It's not like everyone hated Rick after that. I mean, they felt cold towards him, sure, but I feel like Shane's probably a solid militia member. Unironically, I think he'd be good out there doing stuff, and I think he definitely has value as a defense as well. But I'm gonna stick him in the militia. I don't feel comfortable having him a lieutenant. Shumpert, I'm gonna abdicate to. And now he's the lead. No, I'm joking. Now Shumpert is just easy militia member. He's capable. He's capable with the bow and all that. Although he obviously lost his way after the governor massacred all the people, and that made him very depressed, and he let a walker kill him. So maybe we would make sure that Shumpert wasn't doing too much of the massacres, right? Because we want to protect Shumpert. He's a cool guy. Travis Love, the actor, he follows me on Twitter, and he pinned my video in his Twitter, so that's why I've unfortunately got to be extra nice to Shumpert just because of the actor. We got Tim, one of the governor's guys, easy militia member. Obviously he's younger and he was kind of getting used to things, but he was obviously out there, he was capable, and he's able to do some brutal things. We got Tomas, obviously member of the a prison member. The Rick kills with a machete to the head. I think Tomas is... I don't know. I'm feeling like he's probably going to be a good militia member. He's brutal. He's sadistic. He's snaky and sneaky. I think he'd be good. He'd make a good militia member, going out there and subjugating the groups. Now we got Winnie, who is a member of Jocelyn's group. Obviously the girl. I haven't got any of the other kids, but I feel like Winnie and Mitchell were two of the notable ones, so she's here. And like I said, she's young. I said with Mitchell, she's too young for to be going out there and doing stuff. Although actually, she could be a good plant. If I wanted to plant someone in the group, like a spy, I'd probably have a kid go in, right, and be trained to leak information and stuff. I wouldn't send Dante as a spy. See, the Whisperer spy story. Oh my god, I can think of an easy fix. Instead of Dante, why isn't it a child? Oh, I guess they kind of did that though in season. They did that in season 10. Then they would be doing that in season 10 twice actually, so maybe not. But no, silly idea. No, but no, Winnie. I wouldn't want her being out there. She's a child, so she can be a worker, and we can find something for her to do. Maybe she can take up knitting. Okay, I know Murrell is... I actually wouldn't consider Murrell a villain, but let's just, for the sake of it, where would I place him? I'd place him in militia. Okay, yeah, easy. He's got that tactical military skill. Obviously, Herschel points out he's got that those brains when it comes to those things. So yeah, I feel like he'd be a good militia member. And then finally, we've got Wayne Dunlop. Wayne Dunlop would be our defense, okay? He'd be chained to our fence to protect from our enemies, okay? He'd be chained to the fence. And Wayne Dunlop is a capable zombie, and he'd be able to defend our community quite easily. Okay, so that is my building my Walking Dead dream villain group, okay? So I'm the leader, of course, but my lieutenants are as followed. Alpha, Toby Carson, Gavin, Lance Hornsby, Negan Smith, Paula, the Savior, and the Governor, aka Philip Blake. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lieutenants. Oh, now do I have one for every 3? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. I think I do. Okay, I miscounted there, but I did. I definitely do. Okay, so I've stuck to my rules that I put in the 4th. I don't know if this defense made sense to you. It kind of makes sense to me, but now I've kind of confused myself. But these are the guys who are staying at home, right, defending the community in some capacity. So we got obviously Wayne Dunlap and yeah, and then our workers there, and our has to earn their place for all the grapey guys basically. These are just all the grapey guys I didn't like them. I don't like people who do that. And I will enforce that rule. Anyway, whatever. I'm tired. I'm delusional now, so I'm going to call it here and say good night. Make sure to subscribe, and any other cool ideas you've got for tiers, let me know. I feel like I can come up with infinite amounts, and we'll see. But maybe one day I'll run out of ideas. But let me know if you thought about this one. I used a different tier, obviously, because I'm just using the villain characters. But yeah, let me know, and I'll leave this one linked in the description. I think it's just like formatted like S, A, and all that, but you can easily just change all of this in the left if you want to do your own. And maybe I'll do something with my Discord server. I don't know. Maybe I'll do something with it. Maybe I'll just make a new Discord server, because it would be interesting if we had like people come in and like post their opinions and like their tiers. That could be cool. So I don't know. Maybe let me know if you want me to do that. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Au revoir, as the French would say.